Hello everyone, my name is Mr. Hutt, and today I'll be showing you unreleased gear and weapons from Clone Wars Adventures. Once again, I am using Project Oxide's version of the game because all of the gear, even unreleased content, was made available. I want to explain what Project Oxide is again because my 10 years later video explains all the details. I do want to shout out Dark Emperor Snake who gave me the idea for this video back in my Halloween Clone Wars Adventures video of last year, I think. Anyways, I do want to make a few things clear. This is not a definitive list because there was no reference or previous list from a wiki that indicated which sets were unreleased or cut. Also, I consider this content unreleased rather than cut because most of them have final icon symbols, finished textures, animations, or were included in the game somehow besides being available in the shop. Blaster Nightshot, one of the creators of this project, and Jam, the community manager of Clone Wars Adventures emulator, helped me determine which cosmetics were unreleased beforehand. Also, both of them have access to the original game file, so that made it a lot more easier to determine which gear was unreleased. So big thank you to both of you guys for the help. Now this list is pretty extensive. It's surprising. There was a surprising amount of unreleased content that didn't make it to the final version of the game, or some items that were in the game but were just randomly cut at for whatever reason. So this video is gonna be a long one, but I hope you enjoy regardless. So to start off, we got the Imperial Royal Guard gear set. Now, this gear set looks absolutely stunning. Everything about it, down to the cape, just looks incredible. There's a surprising amount of original Star Wars gear sets from the original Star Wars trilogy, which I was surprised to learn about, because I didn't think that would make it into Clone Wars Adventures of all games. So following up, we got the Luke Skywalker gear set from the original Star Wars movie, aka A New Hope. So as you can see, like I'm shocked that this was fully rendered, fully animated, fully developed into the game. It just was never released. I know we have the Tatooine lot in the game, so maybe they wanted to release this alongside that lot, so who knows. Next up we got is the Boba Fett gear set. Now this gear set has some sort of lore behind this. According to Jam, this gear set is based off a fan that would dress up as Boba Fett. The only thing was that this version of Boba Fett is a pimp. So I'm pretty sure you could guess why this was not included in the game. Um, Regardless, though, this gear set does look pretty nice, especially with the Boba Fett helmet. Now, next up we got is Dash Rendar. This one's pretty special in my opinion because this is from a different Star Wars game altogether. And as far as I know, he didn't make a official movie appearance or show appearance. That's the only thing I know about him. I never played any of the games that he was involved in. I have no idea which games it was. I'll put it up on the screen. But it's pretty cool because this was pre-Disney. So this was when all of the expanded universe lore and media was all considered canon and all into one universe. So I know Dash Render was part of that universe, and it just weird because Clone Wars Adventures emulator is based off Clone Wars, which Clone Wars is now canon to the Disney timeline. So it's kind of this game and its unreleased content kind of lives in this weird gray area, if that makes any sense. Next up we got is Han Solo's second outfit. Now this one reminds me a ton from the Force Awakens movie. But I don't think I've ever seen Han Solo wear this outfit in anything but The Force Awakens, which is kind of also weird because Clone Wars Adventures shut down in 2014, 1 year before Force Awakens was released, almost 2 years. So it's kind of, maybe it was just coincidence, or who knows, or maybe it's just based off something else. Maybe you can let me know in the comments. It's just a unique gear set to say the least. And continuing with Han Solo, this is his third outfit that was unreleased in the game. To be honest, I do not see Han Solo wearing this. Or he did in some sort of obscure comic or game or some sort of other media. I just don't think he can pull this off. But so it's a nice gear set, an outfit. Next up we got is Lando Calrissian's second outfit from the game, or I guess unreleased from the game. Now, Lando on the other hand, Lando had drip every single time he was on screen or anytime he's in any sort of media. I think it's because of the cape. The cape really just gives that aura in him, you know? Mans was always dressed fashionably. I I can't deny his fashion game. Overall, anything Lando related is amazing. In terms of his gear and style, case in point, Lando's third outfit. Now this one I would have loved to see in the original game. I'm sure you could have pulled off so many cool designs with this outfit. I'm telling you, Lando is the king of drip in Star Wars. I really do think it's just the cape that makes the outfit, or makes all of his outfits. Next up we got Mara Jade's battle suit gear set. So just like Dash Rendar, this outfit kind of lives in a weird spot, or at least this character lives in a weird spot where at the time, around from 2010 to 2014, all of the expanded universe characters were considered canon, but after Disney bought out Star Wars, these characters were no longer considered canon. So I'm guessing this was planned because there were other expanded universe characters, but who knows. Alright, next up we got is the original Rebel pilot gear set. Now this is an absolute classic in terms of Star Wars and just looks honestly stunning in the game. It's pretty strange that they made all of these original trilogy gear sets but just never released them in any sort of way. I do remember that they kept some of like Han Solo, Lando, and Boba Fett behind the station cache cards. Like they kept them behind a paywall essentially. It's a shame that they kept a lot of gear sets behind some sort of station cache paywall. Anyways, this gear set still looks pretty phenomenal. Alright, next up we got is the green Rebel pilot gear set. This is basically the same as the original one, just in green. I'm guessing because of green leader. I don't have much else to say about this gear set other than it looks pretty good. But green, I don't know, green was never my color, never my personal it was never my personal favorite. My personal favorite color is blue, but I have no idea if they could make a blue Rebel pilot gear set work. Alright, next up we got is the red Rebel pilot gear set. I mean, this looks just like, almost like the original Rebel pilot gear set, so it's not that different, just slightly more red. It's just way more red. Good gear set. Next up we got is the red stripe clone gear set. This one looks alright, I guess. It's not, it just has red stripes going along the gear. I mean, what else is there to say about this gear set? Now this one you guys are absolutely gonna love. It is called the Blue Squares Clone Gear Set. It's basically the same thing, just with squares, and it's blue. I'm I'm guessing they didn't include these two, probably because there was already a ton of other clone gear sets in the game. Um, that's just my best guess. Also, it looks kind of plain to me, at least. Following up is the Commander Wolf Phase 1 grayish and bluish gear set. Now, according to Jam, this gear set was apparently released, but according to Blaster Night Shot, this wasn't released. So, I'm not sure who to believe. Oh yeah, also, Commander Wolf always had that dog in him. Always, always had to let everyone know how hard his fit was. No, he also has the most. I'm sure he also has the most amount of gear sets of any clone ever. Like I know in every, I think he changed his appearance every time he showed up in the show, because he had like 3 different variations of Phase 1. Then he has Phase 2. Then his snow gear set. He was ready for all occasions. Anyways, this is one of the examples where I'm not sure if this is definitive or if this was released, but according to Blaster Nightshot, at least, this was not released in the original game. Because he has access to the original files of the game, so I'm inclined to believe him. Now this next one was shocking to me because apparently the regular Phase 2 clone gear set was never released in the original game, which seems like a no-brainer to include at least this very basic gear set, but apparently it just was never in the game. I know you could I know the regular Clone Guard NPCs around the Jedi Temple had the Phase 2 gear sets when Phase 2 was introduced in the show, but it's just weird that they never gave this out to the players. Next up we got is the Mustafar Deathwatch gear set. Now this one I used in my Mustafar lot video back in who knows, like September or August. But this gear set goes absolutely hard. It just looks perfect from all angles. It just looks incredible. Deathwatch and the Mustafar aesthetics, I guess, just go hand in hand. It just goes so well. This is probably one of my favorite unreleased gear sets from the game. Right, next up we got is the WAG 2 gear set. This is from that one episode where Anakin gets severely injured trying to save all of his companions on the attack cruiser ship where everything is just blown up. It was very early in the Clone Wars seasons, but I think this was supposed to be one of the Halloween gear sets because I believe, if I remember correctly, this is one of the gear sets that is included in the Halloween Clone Wars Adventures emulator gear sets. I just never bought it in 2022 or 2023 or 2024, but it's there alongside all of the other Halloween gear sets. But overall it's okay. Next up we got is the Anakin Tatooine gear set. It is very tan, to say the least. I'm guessing they just didn't include this one in the final game because there was already the IC or the ICD, that one blue and red gear Anakin gear set. So I'm guessing they're like, you know what, we have too much Anakin. Let's just cut this from the game. That's my guess. But then again, they produced like over 100 clone gear sets, so I don't know. I guess I would understand their thought process if they didn't include this in the game, is what I'm trying to say. Following up is the C3PO Clone Trooper Backpack. I'm absolutely sure this is a callback to Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, where Chewie has C3PO on his back. But I'm guessing they absolutely wanted to do some sort of original trilogy, um, what would you call it? Gear set drop, but they just never got around to it or just backed down for some reason. So yeah, I'm just left wondering why they just never went through with it. It looks okay. I'm pretty sure this is also in Clone Wars Adventures emulator. I would have to double check. Continuing on with Clone Troopers, this is the original 2003 Clone Trooper Diver gear set. It's just one of those things where Clone Wars Adventures references a different uh, Star Wars media that was also considered canon or canon up to a point. Uh, but it's just weird because this show um, ultimately, even during its run, ultimately um, decanonized the original Clone Wars show. So it's kind of, I would like to imagine they wanted to pay some sort of homage to the show, but it's kind of weird that they chose the Clone Trooper Diver as the homage. But regardless, this gear set still looks pretty nice in my opinion. And I saw an Instagram post a while back that showed the difference between the two Clone Trooper Diver armor sets, and I just immediately thought of this. And it's just kind of bizarre that it was this specific armor set that was featured in that one post. I don't know, I just thought it was a neat coincidence. Alright, following up is Kyle Katarn's second uniform gear set. Now this one is also unique because Kyle Katarn's first uniform and his lightsabers were actually part of the final game. I believe you could obtain his lightsaber through the crafting system. Um, I just don't remember how you could get his outfit. But it does seem like they really wanted to uh, honor and just celebrate other Star Wars media, but they just never got around to it. I don't know. It just really makes me wonder what else they had in plan before the shutdown. And I have to find out when the expanded universe was decanonized because I'm pretty sure it was after 2014 or at least after Clone Wars was shut down. But yeah, it's a really nice gear set. So following up is the almost the same gear set as the Red Stripe Clone Trooper gear set. The only difference is the helmet. So apparently, according to Blaster Nice Shot, this was supposed to be the Felucia Recruiter Phase 1.5 gear set or helmet. It's another unique helmet or gear set because this helmet looks almost exactly the same as the uh, Phase 2 Clone Trooper gear sets, or at least Clone Trooper helmet in the actual movies. It looks almost identical. But as all of you are already aware, that the Phase 2 helmet and gear set looks just slightly different in the animated show. This helmet is also used for the ARC Trooper helmets, which I believe were released before the introduction of Phase 2 in the show. So I'm guessing that the developers really thought that the Phase 2 helmets were going to look almost identical to the movies, so that's my best guess. But this is the only evidence I can point to. There's no other regular Phase 2 helmets that aren't part of the ARC Trooper gear sets. This is the only one that's available in Project Oxide at the moment. But yeah, it looks nice. Alright, next up we got is the Senatorial Naboo gear set, also known as Padme Amidala's gear set. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure this was part of the show in the early seasons. Um, so I'm guessing this was made early on in the show, but I have no clear answer to my guess. But yeah, it looks alright. Alright. Following up is the Tamtel Scourge gear set. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'll put it up on the screen. This one's from Return of the Jedi. I believe it's one of the gear sets that Lando wears when he's scouting out Jabba the Hutt's palace. I don't know why out of the entire original trilogy, I don't know why that gear set was supposed to be part of the game. They could have included Return of the Luke Skywalker's Return of the Jedi gear set or outfit. That would have gone hard. This one doesn't look that bad. It's alright. Next up we got the Azure Death Watch Commander gear set. This one, another one that looks absolutely phenomenal. Just the hint of that like sky blue coloring just looks perfect. I wouldn't know why they would unrelease or keep this from the final version of the game. Maybe it's because they had too many Death Watch armor sets. Maybe. Who knows? Your guess is as good as mine. But this one looks phenomenal. Alright, next up we got is the Byzantium Death Watch Commander gear set. This one also looks phenomenal. Really anything that's Mandalorian or Death Watch related in the game always looks perfect. Oh, now that I'm remembering, maybe these were like the final bosses in the Karlak missions, or bosses you meet in Karlak. Maybe that's what these were supposed to be. If my guess and memory serves me correctly. But it's been over 10 years, so I wouldn't remember that well. Alright, next up we got is the Cobalt Death Watch Commander gear set. This one also looks fantastic. Again, you can never go wrong with Death Watch or Mandalorian. So since there's 3 of these gear sets, of these Death Watch gear sets, I'm more and more inclined to believe that these were actually part of the of Karlak at some point, whether it be a boss, a mission, or just something. That's my best guess. But yeah, these can't say it enough. These look phenomenal. These look amazing. Alright, next up we got is Commander Stone's Clone Trooper gear set. I believe this was also a clone from season 1 of the show. So I'm guessing that this was supposed to be released early on in the game, but just never saw the light of day. Kind of didn't mean to say that as soon as the sun rose up in the game. This is actually a really nice gear set compared to the stripes and blue square Clone Trooper gear sets. This one's pretty good. And one thing I think I missed out on is that Project Oxide. Well, I'm guessing after a few updates, Blaster and Jimmy finally were able to get the day and night cycle properly automated, utilized in some sort of way for their project. So that's a pretty nice touch for their project. But yeah, this set looks pretty good. Alright, following up is the Tan Mingpo Villager outfit. I'm guessing this was some sort of, I don't know, some sort of like Death Watch civilian. I don't know. But this helmet is listed as a Ming Po commander helmet. Double check. Yes, this is a Ming Po militia helmet. So I don't remember this being part of the show. But if anyone remembers, just refresh my memory because I don't remember what this is from in the show. But it could have made for a nice, I don't know, some sort of nice winter outfit. And finally, after all that, we got the Sullen Jedi gear set. Now this gear set is available in Clone Wars Adventures emulator, but I believe, according to Blaster Nightshot, this is supposed to be a Kyle Katarn uh, Jedi outfit variation. So I have no idea if any of this was supposed to be part of Expanded Universe collection or other Star Wars media collection. Who knows? I've definitely used this in the emulator, and when I played the emulator early on, it was it was one of my main outfits. Overall, it's a really nice gear set. Alright, and one of the last things that Blaster said was unreleased were these boots. So some of the gear sets that he encountered were he just labeled them as numbers because they had no names or icons to relate them to other gear sets or other outfits. So I don't know if these boots are supposed to be standalone or were meant for a different gear set, but it's just kind of weird seeing sandals in Star Wars. But are there sandals in Star Wars? I don't know. Actually, there's one last thing I want to show off, and it is the Republic Snow General helmet. Just take a wild guess why this was unreleased. If you guys think you have the right answer, just go off in the comments. Jokes aside, I mean, if they had the character's face on here, I'm pretty sure this would have made for a nice gear set. But I'm gonna take another guess and say that they probably didn't figure out the mechanics for this helmet at all during the development of the original game. But that's the evidence I bring. I think I've made myself clear. But hopefully this video sheds a light on some untapped history of the game. So now that you've seen hopefully most of the unreleased gear sets from the game, now I want to show off the unreleased weapons that were considered for the game, just never made it to the final version of the game. First up we got is Gregor's DC-17M rifle. Also I'm guessing this is just the regular Clone Commander rifle. It's honestly a shame we never got to use these in the original game. It would have made the game 10 times better. I'm betting on that. I guarantee that. But yeah, this is an iconic weapon from Star Wars, and I know I know it would have made a ton of people happy if it was in the game. So hopefully we could see this both in Project Oxide and the emulator when they're in the future, when they're in their final stages of development. Alright, next up we got is an unnamed heavy cannon. This doesn't look like it's from Star Wars in my opinion. I don't know why, it just reminds me of Phineas and Ferb, Dr. Doofenshmirtz for some reason. But it just, I don't know, it just doesn't seem like it's from Star Wars. I have no idea when this would have been released in the game. It looks like it would have been an electricity type of weapon that shoots out electricity or bolts or something. I'm guessing just not regular lasers. Alright, this one is the unnamed shoulder cannon. So again, Blaster and Jimmy found a lot of these weapons, gear sets that just never had a name attached to them. So it's unknown what they were originally, when they were supposed to be released and what they were supposed to be called, or when they were supposed to be released alongside, some sort of update. This one, I want to say maybe for Umbara. It does definitely look like some sort of Umbara weapon. Who knows if I'm correct or if I'm wrong. Next up we got is the Mandalorian sniper rifle. This one, this one looks pretty cool. I definitely would have used this a lot during combat. Surprisingly, I think I've already mentioned this at some point, but surprisingly, I usually mained like actual blasters instead of lightsabers during combat. So I use blasters, pistols, and other like rockets for combat. Next up we got is the offhand Renegade Heavy Blaster Pistol. So what's weird about this, according to Blaster, is that the it's the offhand blaster that just is not included in the game. So the one on the left, but the one on the right is actually included in the game. So that's just bizarre that you just have half of the one half of the set during the live run of the game. But now we have both. So I guess it's a win. Next up we got is the E11 Blaster. I believe this is from, yeah, I'm pretty sure this is from the original trilogy. Would have been nice to have. I remember a lot of people did recreations of the Death Star and made their own Death Star or Episode 4 recreation fan films using Clone Wars Adventures. So it was pretty neat to see how people would either recreate the Death Star or come up with substitutions for outfits. I remember for stormtroopers they would use, I think it was the Phase 1 torso and body, but use the space trooper helmet because it was just a really wide um, helmet. So that's how they used or implemented stormtroopers when we didn't have stormtroopers in the game. It's a pretty legendary blaster to say the least. This one is a bizarre one. In Oxide, it's just called his cane. But it's just supposed to be Yoda's cane. I'm guessing from the movies and shows, but I don't know why it was modeled, animated, and almost released in the game. When I first saw this, I thought it was some sort of knife. So for a while, I thought, oh, maybe they wanted to use uh, like some sort of knife mechanic for the game, using like the lightsaber stance animation. But no, it's just Yoda's cane. Maybe it's like an April Fool's joke? I don't know. But it's just kind of funny to to see the size comparison next to the size of the players. So yeah, you could even see that it has some sort of animation, but I don't think this is meant to be any form of lightsaber animation. Alright, next up is the Imperial Royal Guard Force Pike. Now this one's pretty nice. It definitely complements the Royal Guard a lot. I don't wait. Oh, I think this is supposed to be yeah, the weapons that they have in Revenge of the Sith. Do they have? Do the Royal Guards have staff? Do they have a staff in Return of the Jedi? I don't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it looks nice. Next up we got is the Rebel Pilot Blaster. This is a pretty big blaster. So I'm guessing this is the blaster from Battlefront 2? That's my guess. Or at least that's what I associate this with the Rebel Pilot. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. Next up we got is the Tamptel Screech Pike. Earlier I was wondering, like, there's something missing with this outfit, and I remember it's because Lando was using some sort of staff in the movie. But yeah, they even included the staff in the game, or at least the pike. That looks pretty good. Right, next up we got 3 variations of the Umbara Ghost Sabers. My guess, these were meant to be part of the Umbara update when the Sith Temple was released. So, what was that? That was like 2010, 2011, early on in the game's lifespan. It's just pure red. At least this first one. Oh, so it is a lightsaber animation. Yeah, so that's like earlier with the Yoda's cane. It is supposed to be a lightsaber animation. Interesting. All right, this is the second Umbara Ghost Saber. This one looks more like Anakin's lightsaber. Also, I'm using the Sith Marauder because I thought it was appropriate to use with these Sith sabers, and also because they were from Umbara. So I thought it fit the lightsabers. All right, and this is the third Umbara Ghost Saber. The real difference between these 3 are just the lightsaber hilts. So I know some of the lightsabers are different sizes and have different effects to them. But all of these 3 are basically the same, just different hilts. Wait. Oh, and they're kinda... This one's kinda see-through too. Yeah, it is. Weird. Oh, ghost. Because it's called a Ghost Saber. That makes this one way cooler now. I don't know, I just kind of... I didn't see the vision until now. That's pretty cool. That's really, really cool. Huh. Yeah, the developers had a lot of creativity with these. That's amazing to see. You'll love to see it. You absolutely love to see it. Now to wrap up the weapons, this last weapon, Luke Skywalker's Return of the Jedi lightsaber. Now, according to Blaster, this lightsaber was released early on in the game, but it was removed because apparently just not enough people had this lightsaber, or just some other reason. But I'll link a video in the description, and I'll give a screenshot that it was in the game. but I'm including it here just as a bonus, and because I would say Luke Skywalker is one of the reasons Star Wars got its start, and what made it really popular today. But yeah, it's also because the lightsaber is just so iconic, especially that stance. This stance has to be from the Return of the Jedi poster. It looks in. I don't see the poster right now, but in my mind's eye, in my imagination, it looks almost similar. Hopefully, me in the future can find the reference, and hopefully, it looks the same, or nearly the same, or identical. And if it does, thank you, me in the future. Well, that wraps up all of the unreleased gear and weapons from the game, or at least most of them. As a reminder, this is not the definitive list of all of the unreleased gear sets and weapons from the game, because according to Jam, the developers had Darth Vader and Stormtroopers planned for the game, so much so that he even found like files and unnamed like textures or something like that in the game's files. So there's probably other gear sets and weapons that were planned for the game, just never saw the light of day, or just were never fully developed and finished. And also, I don't have the list of all the droids, the dances, the mounts. So all of that, all of the, I would say, I guess, miscellaneous features and cosmetics, all of that will probably be its own video whenever Blaster and Jimmy get around to it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a long one, so hopefully this gave you guys some insight to Clone Wars Adventures and the development of the game, and also what the developers had planned, or at least what they envisioned for the game. It is pretty cool to see what could have been if all of this was released in the game. The game probably would still have been shut down in 2014, but it would have been nice to have some of these cosmetics, like Gregor's rifle, the Imperial Royal Guard, Luke Skywalker's lightsaber. Really just anything from here would have been amazing to have. But yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and sorry that was probably too long. Hope you all have a great day. Take care.